A Duff Said is brought to you by Sheldon Street Pizza. Visit them online at sheldonstreetpizza.com or stop by Sheldon's during your next trip to Lake Orion. Sheldon Street Pizza, the official pizza of A Duff Said. And by Fourth Coast Cider Works. Quality craftsmanship, quality hard cider. You can check them out online at fourthcoastciderworks.com or come get a can or a howler at their Canterbury Village location. Not available for anyone under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly. Great win tonight, Kevin. How did you guys get it done tonight against a very good Alma team that you were expecting a good test from this evening?
Yeah, just kind of balanced all over the place. A lot of it on the run, on the ground, like we normally do. But Sam was able to hook up with some big guys in the air, and just kind of shared the love all around.
What have you seen out of this kid after 2 games that has really impressed you so far?
Well, you sit here and you talk about how as a quarterback you need to protect your kid. We're watching a Traverse City team last year with a boy playing quarterback and then playing middle linebacker, and he's going to Notre Dame, and you start to think to yourself, if a kid's going to get hurt, they're going to get hurt, but you want to have your best athlete out there. So Sam plays outside linebacker. He was a first team all region outside linebacker as a sophomore, and and now he's playing quarterback, and he doesn't ever want to come off the field. He's also our long snapper on PAT and on punt, and he's just been extremely impressive.
Now, you also had a great night defensively this evening. What was working well for you on that side of the ball, holding them to just a couple of scores tonight?
Well, we've been really good against the run the first 2 games, and that kind of sets things up where you can anticipate the pass. Last week, they threw the ball 48 times, so we knew we were going to have our work cut out for us. And Coach Chacon's my defensive coordinator and spends a lot of time breaking down film like a lot of guys do, but we came in with a different game plan of something that we haven't ran, where we only ran 2 defensive linemen this week, and we kind of unleashed Gabe Blanchard and Sam Talaga and let them just have free reign to attack. And the 2 guys in the middle were able to neutralize the run game with our linebackers, and then Daniel Dooley came up with 2 interceptions in the secondary. So it just kind of balanced all over the place.
Once again, you guys got off to a great start, just like you did last week against Clare. What do you make of the way that your guys and the ability that they have in order to just really set the tone early and just keep piling on the scoreboard?
Well, again, the program that we run from 3rd, 4th grade youth coaches, all the way up through our varsity level, we're using the same system and the same terminology and things like that. So when you have the graduating class that we had last year, you expect to lose a lot. And I really wasn't sure what we were going to be able to do offensively, but somebody told me tonight that the points we scored tonight and last week is the most points we've scored since I've been here in the first 2 games. And so, when our only returning guys on offense are 3 offensive linemen, again, that's just a testament to Ron Kowalski, my head JV coach, and Bill Wheeler, my head freshman coach, who are running our system down there. And these kids are just coming up to us at the varsity level and not missing a beat.
The last 2 teams that you've taken all the way to the state semifinals, and now this group does something very special. What are you seeing out of these guys that have stood out amongst some of the other teams that you've coached over the years at Freeland?
This team is very similar to some of those teams in the fact that we have a group of boys that are very unselfish. Nick Harrington was a kid who scored the first 2 touchdowns last week for us, and in this game, he ran the ball 4 times for 17 yards. And says nothing about it besides just being a team player. We talked about it at halftime, for him to go out and get rolled up on wasn't something that we needed to do. And he was completely understandable with that, and just an ultimate team player. And that's kind of what it's been, just different guys sharing the love. Tonight we had 2 in the 4th quarter. We just played our whole JV team. The MHSA allows us to have this 5th quarter rule. So we kind of take advantage of that, and we dress 10 of our JV kids, and that's who played the whole 4th quarter. And we scored 2 touchdowns in the 4th with JV kids on the field. So again, not missing a beat. These kids coming up to the varsity level and still playing, and that's why the score was what it was.
I want to talk about the first couple of games that you had all together at Freeland. This goes all the way back to when you first started. I did not know this about you, but in your first 14 games at Freeland, despite all the success you've had, you were actually 2-12 in your first 14 games. And I'm sure you had to be nervous and feeling a little bit on the hot seat with a record like that. But the school stuck with you and you went on to build the amazing program that you had. What was that experience like in the beginning as you were coming up and experiencing those struggles?
I mean, this is just brutally honest that when I applied for this job, I coached 2 years on the JV with John Nixon and Phil Schwedler and Camus Heilman, and John Nixon gave me the shot to be a JV coach under him. And when he stepped away from the game, there was three people that applied for the varsity job. One person they wouldn't let interview for it because he wasn't a school employee, and the other gentleman decided to pull his name from the hat. So it literally fell in my lap. The school kind of got me by default, if you will, and I really was clueless. I knew I wanted to learn. I spent a lot of time going over to Bay City Western with Jeff Rawl and when Jim Urich was the head coach there, and watching their speed training and stuff in the morning, and brought that into our program and just started to do a lot of off-season training stuff. And yeah, my first year in Freeland, the conferences switched, and so we weren't playing Carleton and Seminary and St. Charles and Merrill anymore. We were playing Alma and Ovid Elsie and Chesting and Shepherd, and got my butt handed to me. Got taught a huge lesson of being 1-8, and I had some different coaches back then. In the second year, I changed coaching staffs again, and we started out 1-4, and we were fortunate enough to win our last 4 games of the season to finish 5-4. And then I was blessed to get Jeff Catlin as a defensive coordinator for me for quite a few years. And Paul LaFon came over from Lowell, where he coached with Noel Dean, and so I got to have him. And then a couple years later, we brought on Ron Kowalski and Coach Anderson. Coach Wheeler's been with me all the way. But I'm just very blessed to have a group of guys that believe in me. And again, one of the things I told them when we took over this, to be really, really truthful, in 2008 when we got everybody together, I kind of said, if this is going to be my program, we're in trouble. This has to be our program. We all have to believe in each other. I brought on Coach Anderson, who played for me and now coaches for me 9 years ago, and that's the last time we've had a new guy, with the exception of Ben Washabach. So just keeping the same coaches around me, and us believing in each other on the offensive side, defensive side. Coach Catlin left the game after a couple of years ago, and Jesse Chacon moved from the JV right up to the varsity, and we haven't missed a beat since.
Now, as the head coach of a very successful program, you will go just about anywhere to find talent and just be a part of the game of football. And that includes a powderpuff football game between the junior and senior girls at Freeland High School. You didn't just go and officiate that game. You found your place kicker. I love this story. This has been all over my Facebook this week. The story of your kicker, Brooke Riffle. She was somebody that caught your eye at a powderpuff game, and before we knew it, she was kicking extra points for you guys. I know she had 4 last week against Claire. I can't wait to hear you tell me how many she had tonight. But first, what did you see in her that made you want to have her come kick for you?
Well, the varsity football coach, or all the football coaches, we referee the powder puff game, and it's kind of a funny tradition. It seems to be whichever junior or senior class of boys, because it's our players that coach it. Whatever ones of them give us the best snacks before the game, those are kind of the ways we lead our calls a little bit. But for the first time ever, the game went into overtime. Well, it shouldn't have. It was 7-7, and our athletic director, Mr. Bell, wanted to call the game. And we're like, no, we're not going to end the game. Let's have some fun with this. There are a lot of great athletes. Our girls' programs are amazing in soccer, cross country and track, and in basketball. And we've just have some amazing female athletes in our school. And, we said, let's just have a kickoff. And we started at the 5-yard line, which is basically kind of an extra point. And one of the juniors made it, and then the senior answered, and they backed up to the 10 and the 15 and the 20. And Brooke kind of smoked a 30-yard field goal, which ultimately ended up winning it for the junior class. And that usually doesn't happen. Typically, the seniors are the ones that win. And Coach Shaman reached out to her dad. He's friends with her dad, John. And John got with her and brought her out to the field, and she would grab a bag of balls. And like you read in the articles, he would get some things on YouTube. And then Jack Dreyer, one of our former kickers, and Jack well, he's my neighbor. He came back and he worked with Brooke. And last week she missed an extra point that wasn't her. It got blocked based on the boys not blocking up front. And today, I know she was perfect today. I want to tell you she was 7 of 7 today. So
That is awesome. It's all about that week to week progress. I'm so happy to see that she's doing so well for you because you have a knack for finding kickers in some of the most unlikeliest of places. One of the things that you did was you found Jack Dreyer, your neighbor. He was also a linebacker and a fullback. He goes off to a camp to learn how to kick. Brooke just does it on YouTube. She said, yeah, I'm going to make this a lot easier on myself. I'm just going to find out what they say on YouTube. I don't need your fancy camps. I'm just going to go there. But it's
yep.
just been amazing how you've always been able to develop this talent like this. You've also had another female kicker in Mackenzie Strobel, who also handled extra point duties for you in the fall. So you are just a really good judge of character when it comes to kickers. What has it been like to see these people rediscover themselves and find something in them that they may not knew they actually had?
I just think maybe I'm just a trustworthy guy because Dave Shaman really found both of those girls. I mean, we saw Brooke in the powder puff game, but Dave's the one that reached out to her as he did with Mackenzie and got her to come and kick for us too. And then obviously she went on and won a national championship in NAIA at Tennessee Southern. So again, what we do, I've had from Nate Kravitz to Adam DePels or Nathan DePels maker. To Stephen Pangborn, to just all kinds of kids that weren't football players when they came out. Brian Paps, probably one of the best ones that I've ever had. They were soccer kids, and they just came out, and we would tell them, if you can outkick the kid that we have, then you can have the job. And I don't care what sport they play. If they make our football team better and their team players and our boys that are on the team are accepting of them and they're going to fit into what we do, our boys just want to win, and so do our coaches. So we're going to take any kids we can to help us be better.
Up next for the Falcons, you got a road game next week at Bridgeport. What kind of test are you expecting against the Bearcats?
Bridgeport is one of those programs where they're loaded with athletes. They have a great basketball program. Their football program will struggle from here to there, but they are loaded with athletes. And last time we went in there, the last time we played there 2 years ago at their place, I think we went in very cocky and overconfident, and we were trailing by a point with about 4 minutes to go. And Nathan Levingston caught a screen pass. I want to tell you, about 2.5 minutes to go in the game, and took it to the house, and then we end up squeaking out of there and getting a lucky win. So, when you're playing the Frankenmuths and the Swan Valleys and the Garbers and those teams, you don't ever take a team lightly. And again, just because Bridgeport or whoever else you're playing doesn't put up a good record, you better prepare the same way, because it's one of that game, and one of those games, and the ball bounces funny sometimes.
Well, I wish you all the best in that one next week, Kevin. I appreciate you making the time for us this week. Congrats on another big win, 59-14 over Alma. The Falcons are 2-0. I will be talking to you in a couple weeks, Kevin. Best of luck next week against Bridgeport.
All right. I appreciate it as always, Duff. Thank you.